Man, what's the deal? So look, check this out. The biggest lesson that I learned from 2023 was following your own mind. And watch this. Crazy. So for like the last, I want to say year, like I decided to take the case off my iPhone, and I ain't gonna lie to you, the last one I had was kind of bulky. So I'm like, you know what, man? I had started traveling, and I'm like, I want to know what my phone feel like walking through the airport. Phone just got trashed. You know what I'm saying? Long story short, phone just got trashed. So now I'm like really holding out on getting a new phone. But if I'm being real with you, the entire time I was kind of tired of that phone anyways. And I'm like, the temptation of getting the same phone. So the phone that I used to have was, I believe it was an iPhone 13 Plus. The phone that I had previous was just a regular 12 Pro, and then I upgraded. And throughout that whole process, man, I learned that the phone was just uncomfortable for me. I'm talking about giving me all the signs that I needed, just like life does to us every single day. So, like I said, man, I'm talking about regular days. I might just be chilling, holding the phone up, and it's hurting my wrist. And so now it comes down for me to get a new phone. So I'm at the Verizon spot. My man like, hey man, that new one cold. Like, did you see that? And he like, man, it's big. It's like a little bit bigger. And so he showed it to me, and when I picked it up, I was reminded again. I was reminded of all the comfortable feelings that I used to have. I was reminded of everything that I knew that I already didn't like about the bigger phone, the Plus. Once like I started like showing him signs, and this is why I always advocate like to be yourself at all times. My man was watching me the whole time, like watching my facial expressions, because he was low key a salesman. I actually respect what it came down to as to what he suggested. So he was suggesting a whole bunch of things to me at first, and then once he realized, because I was just showing my true colors, once he realized, he like, hey man, I can see that you're not really comfortable getting a bigger phone. I would just follow my first mind. He like, cause I can really see that you sold on this, and I don't want you to take the phone home, and I don't want you to not like the phone. Then I realized something. I'm like, man, why don't we approach life like that all the time? And I didn't even realize that. Like, I've been down this road so many times that I already should have had my mind made up. But the truth of the matter is I didn't. I still wanted somebody to help me make a decision that I already knew that I didn't like. Like I'm a very particular, peculiar type of guy. So even when it comes down to my phone, any little thing can throw it off for me. Like, so for example, like when I'm chilling, I like to just have my phone like this. And if you can see my pinky right here, the phone is resting on my pinky. And I'm talking about with that other phone, it was just like that, the weight of it was just making my hand hurt. And somebody watching this video going, Mike, we don't care nothing about an iPhone. This is not nothing about an iPhone. This is basically, you need to, whatever it is that you deciding to do, like whatever that new thing going into 2024 is going to be, you need to be sold on that, man, because what's going to happen is you're going to have a whole lot of discomfort. This is just the phone that I'm talking about. But let's translate that into the real world, like things that you know you shouldn't be doing. That woman who you dating, or that man that you dating, like you know you should have been cut them ties. Like, you know you shouldn't be in the situation that you're in, but you didn't follow the signs. And that's like the biggest thing that I've learned in 2023 is follow your first mind. Like, go with what you really feel. Like, no one can ultimately tell you how you feel. Even my man, he was really just telling me, he was really confirming for me what he already seen, like the energy that I was giving off. He was like, hey, yo, man, you look like you don't even want that phone. You look like you want the regular one. And if I'm gonna be honest with you, what was so tempting about it, we gotta watch out for the temptations. But it was so tempting because I'm like, yo, the phone look crazy. And one thing about me is any type of entertainment that I'm watching, I'm playing the game, I'm watching the game, or I'm watching a movie, I like to have a big screen. And sometimes when you're chilling and just looking at the phone, turn that boy to the side, it's nice and big, pause. Like, it look fire. But if I'm being real, man, when I finally got this phone, I honestly couldn't tell the difference. I'm talking about, I started watching movies on the phone, watching YouTube. That's one of my favorite things to do. And I couldn't notice the difference. And I'm like, wow, what if I would have got the big phone and would have been leaving acting like I was happy? A lot of us live our life like that every single day. We walk around acting like we're happy with the way our life is going, and we're really not, because we know that we're not ultimately doing what we want to do, what we know we should be doing, and what we feel we want to do. Now, I'm not saying just go ahead and just jump off into everything and just overindulge, But I'm basically just saying you have to learn to follow your mind because ultimately you're going to be right. Ultimately, I wanted the bigger phone and I settled for the smaller one. Why? Because comfort. Most of us think that life is about the glitz, the glamour, the big lights, the big stuff. And it's just like, nah, man, sometimes you have to get what you want. And I think that's what I've done my whole life. You know what I'm saying? Just looking up to my brother, just looking up to different models. Like I didn't necessarily know that my way was the way. And the crazy thing is, it's not that other people's ways are wrong. It's not that my brother was wrong. Like my brother was like one of the biggest figures who I looked up to. It wasn't that he was wrong or anybody else in my life. But what about Mike? You know what I'm saying? What about you? What about Chaz? What about Brandon? Like, what about what you want? And ultimately, what I wanted was a smaller phone. Ultimately, I know how I want my life to go. So why not figure out what it is that Mike want to do and do that thing? Why not you figure out what that thing is that you want to do or meditate on that thing? And I knew that I didn't want that big phone. So all I'm trying to get you guys to understand is, yo, do what it is that you want to do, that you ultimately want to do. And that's basically the biggest thing that I've learned in 2023 was following my own mind. So if you don't learn nothing else, man, like if you don't do nothing else, and I know this was a small example, but this is real life. Like life is based off of the small things. How you handle the small things is how you handle the big things. So now that you know that, going into 2024, I want you to pass go and collect 200.